Hi, this is Linda Aman Arts, and welcome to my world. Tonight we're on art talk number 19 already. So over
Oh,
19 months, I've been doing these for your entertainment and enjoyment and education, the three E's. And so I will start like I always do with a joke because that always is fun. Some of you saw this in master class, but you'll get to see it again. So here we go.
That's funny.
It is pretty good. It is pretty.
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm going to start with a little bit of a statement here. We are tonight talking about the power of words in the artistic process. This is something I've done for the last couple years, and it has greatly improved my understanding of where I want to go in my art, what I want to experiment, where I want to go. And so we're going to talk about some of you may do this, some in my master class already do it, but it has been a real big breakthrough for me. So this is what it is, and I'm going to start with this. Okay, a lot of you know me well enough to know these couple things about me as an artist. I'm constantly seeking new inspiration and imagination in painting. Does that sound like me?
yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
I explore styles, realism to abstraction.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Use varied color combinations and layering of those colors.
Definitely.
Mhm. I like to try new compositions,
Yeah.
and I also like to overlay them. And that's where I was talking to the artist the other night, and I had overlaid a couple compositions. And so that was a little different, maybe. And then joy and ideas flow from creative shifts in approach. So, in other words, I feel that when you shift things in your approach, it brings you to new ideas and excitement. Does that sound like me?
Mhm.
Perhaps. Okay, so here's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about that in the process of your painting, when you're thinking about it, we're in the process of making it, how I use words that I don't just think in my head, but I actually write them down so that I have more guidance and more excitement about going somewhere. So here's the thought. Those of you, a lot of you are educators, have done classes in the past and taught in schools. They say that if you say it, do it, write it, it becomes more solid in your thinking. So quite often we're talking about our paintings. I don't know about you, but sometimes I even talk to myself because um, it's a fun audience. I sometimes win my own arguments. So if you say it and then you do it, it starts getting into your thinking. If you write it down, it's another level. How many of you been like me that you know what you're doing, you put it all down, and you have no idea what two colors you make watercolor?
We,
Yeah. So that would be one of the instances where it would have been helpful had you written it down. So that would be an example. We're going to do a little different example in that. So we're going to talk about a method that you might want to try. So let me bring you over. Okay, why would you do written words in the process of your painting? So we're clarifying my intent and my emotional direction. The use of words can help to shift the thoughts, shift them around a little bit. It helps guide my viewer's experience. So if I have a particular thing I want to have the pathway for my viewer at the end of the painting, I might have that as part of my goal. And a single word that you use can spark a full painting series. I'm going to show you examples of these. And I don't really know if other artists do this. This is something that I discovered. Maybe they do, but for me, this has taken me to another level in my work. So here we go. Using descriptive words will reflect a mood or a story before and during the painting using your words. So I might say, I want it to be exciting, or I want it to be calm, or I want to tell one of my paintings is Rick's grandfather's blacksmith shop. That's going to be a story. How do I say that story? Well, I would use words, descriptive words, to help me make that painting, which I did. I said things like old and dusty, um, old papers, back in time, all those kinds of things help me to get the feeling of that. And then I'll tell you how I keep those words. And back then, I thought those words, I didn't write them. Now I'll show you how I do that. So keep words nearby. So you might write them down, and then it goes in a stack of papers and you never see it again. That's not what I want you to do. I want you to write them where you can find them. So when I have a painting, if you stretch your board, sometimes you have that paper around, you can write on it. If you're working on a piece of artwork, that you can write it on the back. Some way, get those words on a post-it note or whatever that will stay with what you're painting. So if you want to say old and dusty, I want textures, I want it to look rusty, you would just start writing those words down. So they can be words of things you're doing, how you're feeling, maybe a color that you're going to use. You might go, I want to use quinacridone rust. You just let those floods of ideas get on a piece of paper. Pretty soon, as you get better at this, you may need larger than a post-it note because those ideas are starting to flow. Sometimes I'll only have a word, and the word will do everything I want it to be. And then as I'm working, I may add to it. So let me give you some thoughts on how I do this, and then we can discuss it. All right. So I'm going to show you my words before you see the painting. And then I'll show you the painting and tell you how that influenced it. So I have a series that I called A Breath of Fresh Air. I was doing a number of paintings. I just thought, in fact, I think it started during COVID when I felt people just had to have a calming feeling. They had to feel like when they came to my painting, they'd just go, oh. I wanted the actual breath to come into people with the calmness. And I'm still adding to that series once in a while because I think we can always use one of those. So the example of my words are, and every time you see the example words, it's going to be written in blue. So I wanted calm, quiet, peaceful, silence, still, gentle, restful, alone, relaxed, and then that's where came in a breath of fresh air. So these were the words I wanted to use. In one of the art talks, we actually looked at this painting and we had you critique and give words to it. These are the words that came out from that painting. I'll show you the painting. They said peace, you might have been in the group. Peace, quiet, restful, stillness, darkness into light, transition, hope in light, curiosity, intrigue, interesting. Are some of these matching up?
Mhm.
Yes.
So did I get my viewer to understand my thought pattern?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So here is the painting. The paintings. This is the one that's called Winter Solace. This one's called Trinity. And this is repeated of what I just said, if you want to look at that. So I took those words and repeated them, those thought patterns from my Breath of Fresh Air series. And this is another one that I added to that series. And after a while, I had quite a few, and I have other series as well. So they don't look alike, but do they have some of those same thought patterns of words?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay, so how would you describe these, maybe with those words or different words?
Well, peaceful was one of them.
And if you have something different that one is disturbing, everybody sees things differently. So,
The one on the right looks soft to me.
good,
Mhm.
good. Kind of misty. I wanted this one to be misty and mysterious and kind of going through the fog.
They all evoke water feelings to me.
Oh, good, good. Okay, good. And this one you can see is pretty big. It's 48 by 48.
Mm.
And this one's 20 by 20, but this one is a pretty good size. So when you come up to it, it was at a show it was in a national show and you walked up the stairs and it was at the top of the stairs, which was just really fun because they'd come up and then you just saw it right there. So that was a nice placement. All right, let me give you another one. Okay. This was starting an abstract adventure series.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's going to be the title of the series, but it's kind of that. So I wanted words. I wanted to be mystery, layering, hidden things, use new methods, put in textures. Does it surprise you that I put in textures?
No.
Gloria Miller Allen and I are doing a show soon, as some of you know, and she likes these big, quiet, smooth washes, and I like the texture, and we like both. But I'll look at her rocks, and they're just smooth and quiet, and then I will have rocks, and they'll just be textured like crazy. And I want exciting movement in these. So those are the words I wrote. These are the words that came through for people that looked at it. They said it felt like an adventure. Okay. Fast movement, complex, complicated, and energized. Do any of these feel similar to each other?
Yes, sure.
Give an example.
The exciting movement.
Right, right. An adventure might be a little bit like a mystery.
Mhm.
Okay. So here's the painting. It's the
Oh.
peacock painting. I took a picture 2 weeks ago of my sister-in-law's peacock out in the front yard. So that's a photograph that it is. The peacocks was my inspiration. And then this is what I did. And then I put it into two paintings. This is the process of this is gonna be in our book that's coming out soon. So do you see how it fits some of those words?
Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
Is there layering and hidden things and excitement and um, adventure?
Yes, absolutely.
I think
How do you feel about putting those words down, either mine or the ones that you all gave me? How does that, do you think that influences the brush I'm holding?
oh yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think it does. I have found it does. So it gives just a little extra boost to what you want to do. So let's do another one. Okay, this one. And this one you would have seen earlier because I didn't know I was going to do this topic, but I went, oh, it's great because some of you were there and made these comments. So this is going to be a Hawaiian painting, Hawaii paintings. And I wrote, this is what I wanted to do. And I think it's on the back of one of the boards. And I said, I wanted it whimsy. I wanted it juicy, spontaneous, and bright. I wanted it playful, childlike. So I wasn't as concerned about the accuracy thing as the feeling of playful and childlike, tropical, layered. I wanted complementary colors. It's a double complementary because it's purple and yellow and red and green. And I do double complementaries quite a lot because they play off each other so well. And these are the comments that the Art Talk said. Joyful, vibrant, tropical, happy, fun, a Hawaii. They felt it was from Hawaii, a surprise, hopeful, and love, which was interesting.
Hmm.
Do any of these fit together?
Mhm.
What I said I was going to do and what somebody else says they saw.
Vibrant and bright.
Mm-hmm.
And
And joyful.
Mm-hmm. Fun might be kind of the childlike, playful.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That is fun.
tropical, that word was in both.
Right. Because you'll see it is very much that way. Now, if I'm thinking a particular thing, does that mean the comments and what somebody else says will match up?
Not necessarily.
No, in fact, quite often they won't.
Mhm.
And why would that be?
People have different impressions of the painting. It gives them different feelings possibly than what you had.
If they had a bad experience in Hawaii, it might be very sad to them.
Mhm.
or they just don't like bright colors. There's a lot of reasons. So it's like what I was saying before the talk tonight, that a juror put in my artwork and she saw something in it, but she didn't fully understand it. I don't mind people looking at my artwork and having mystery and trying to delve into what I did. So I don't, that's fine. Okay, so this is the paintings.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
So there's 3 of them, and it's a series. I did the big one, then went, I'm on a roll, and I actually did quite a few of these. And I was just putting them out quick because I was like, I'm gonna just play. And I'm not really good at doing play, but I'm starting to really enjoy it. So do these give the feeling? Do my words, do you think they helped with this?
I do.
Mhm.
If I just had them in my head, would I maybe have stayed, we don't know. Would I have stayed childlike in it? We don't know. Would I have gone with the complementary colors if I hadn't decided that and written it down? Could I stray from where I wanted to do that? Now I can because it's my artwork, but does the orangish red with the green and the yellow and the purple do something for the painting that makes it more um, live?
Mhm.
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 So what words there would you say would help you in a painting?
Mm. I
think-
like playful. It
Mhm.
bring, especially for me, Hawaii and tropical is a fun um, feeling, and so playful in all of them. You know, I was looking for the gecko, and it's kind of
Mhm.
mysterious. Or fun. It's like a mystery game for me.
Oh, good, good. Because you can see this is foliage, but then it's interrupted by wild colors, and
Yes.
um, they were fun to do because I got to make up stuff and yet keep in mind my focus of where I wanted to go.
Mhm.
I don't know about you, but I can get pretty lost in a focus. And that, there's always to approach art, but this is one of them that's helped me. Okay, this is, we're going to be doing some discussion on one here. So this is just reminding you that all of these, this is your commercial break. Um, this this is reminding you that we've got a lot of these lessons now in the subscription, and there's already 19 art talks in there. We got the other one in the other day, and this will come in soon. 100 lessons, and you can go anywhere at any point on the 150 plus things that are in there for the 20 a month. And as long as you are subscribed, you can look them over and you can repeat them. You can skip around anywhere you want. They're somewhat sequential, but you can kind of take them. They're standalones as well. So there you go. Okay, so let me come back up here. Let me come over here. And I will pull up a painting. And I'll have you come up with descriptive words
Okay.
of how you might decide, if you were thinking of doing this painting, how you might decide to describe it. Let me find it. This is going to be a hard one. You ready?
Hey. Mm.
Oh,
It's
that's neat. I like that.
well,
Hmm.
good. You get an A for the day.
I
This
love that.
one, I had particular thoughts in mind of education, and I had particular things I wanted to do. Whether you know what I did or not, when I'm done, I'll tell you what they were. But why don't you look at this and go, she might have been thinking about these ideas, colors or designs or compositions, and it will help you think words that might have been written down to help create this piece. So we're doing it backwards.
Mm.
From a design perspective, I would see that you wanted to use a cruciform,
Mm-hmm.
that
Right.
you didn't want it to be like a real obvious one. That you wanted to combine, as you often like to do, organic and more geometric forms.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Um,
Want to show depth.
Bright colors.
Bright
Compl-
colors.
play with complementary colors.
Uh-huh.
Opposites and texture.
Very good. Opposites in texture. A lot of opposites.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of texture.
Mhm.
And an unbelievable amount of color.
Uh-huh.
So tell me compliments that you see in there. What's in there of a compliment? Compliments are the ones that are across the wheel, color wheel. If you don't know them, we'll go over that again in some time in a color, but tell me what compliments are in this piece.
Well, the most obvious one is
Blue,
blue
yeah.
and orange.
Say again.
I said the most obvious one in a way. The one that's most prominent is blue and orange.
Mhm.
Blue and orange,
Purple and yellow.
purple and yellow.
Red and green.
It's a reddish
Mhm.
and green.
Mhm.
Pretty much got them. And then we have between those ranges of complements across the color wheel that are just off a little bit.
Mhm.
So I used everything pretty much for color. So we've got the cruciform. What is another design factor in this? Composition factors. One I don't use. In fact, this was one of the main things I did for this piece, was decide that I was going to have a very different composition than I usually do.
Well, I see checkers.
That's it, checkerboard.
Mhm.
Mhm.
How many of you have done a checkerboard painting?
Well, I have when I designed quilts.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you've done it with other things. But do you think that was one of my words?
Checkerboard or
Probably.
quilt. Yeah, probably.
Checkerboard. So let's just think back to what words I might have had. Checkerboard,
Mhm.
all the complementary main colors. What else? The design factor was checkerboard and
And cruciform.
cruciform, which means there's at least there's four pieces that will go off like a cross does, but
Mhm.
you don't have to have them on each segment. So I put two of the cruciforms on one side and then the other. So there's not really one down here. They don't have to be equal to sides. And I don't know if you knew that or not. And then most of you know I like geometric and organic. So the organic would be kind of this stuff, I think.
Mhm.
Okay. What else do you think okay, I'm thinking checkerboard, cruciform, complementaries, opposites, texture,
Layers. I don't know.
layers. Now, some of those things would come automatic, but what are the words that most likely influenced that painting that would be different than the other things I've done? I'm asking strange questions.
Mhm.
What do you see in that painting that I don't do very often?
Brightness, bright colors.
Really
Not,
over the top fighting things. Is
yeah.
it calm? Is it in my breath of fresh air?
No.
Oh,
No, it's not.
It's
It's
in your adventure series.
It's an adventure series. There you go.
Your
So,
colors are usually more subtle.
yeah, not quite so, and harsh lines. And
Yeah, that's true.
bold. So this would be described differently, and this one I wouldn't necessarily put it in a show, but there's other things that would be what I just naturally put in that I didn't even have to write down, and that is we've got these squares. We have large ones, middle size, and baby ones. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then opposites, and we have blue ones and we have white ones
Mhm.
and white ones here. So even though it's complicated, you may or may not like it. That's kind of beside the point on this. As a design, you can tell that there was thought to it.
Mhm.
Whether you care for the painting or not, you could go, oh, she did put this here, and she did keep most of the little baby squares in the cruciform and then let another piece come, but most of them are in there and they run opposites in different sizes. It goes the white with the blue on top, the blue with the white on top. If it was all the same white on top of those areas, would it have the same effect?
No.
No. Does it almost feel like it's vibrating?
Well, that's a good word.
That it's coming to you and coming back and coming, it's actually, to me, I would not want this in a bedroom because it's moving fast and it's it's got a boldness that is not calming.
Right.
It doesn't put you to sleep.
It does not. So, do you see kind of how some of that idea might have, by writing it down, might have an influence?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, tell me, we'll do another one. Okay, do you want to try another one?
Sure. Yeah.
Your game, okay.
No.
I'll find a different one. Now, what you just did is helpful to when people are when you're looking at something, you're able to decide with words something that you feel about it, think about it, would write about it. Okay, let me see which one I. Marcia, would you be so kind as to let me show one of yours?
Well, I would be glad to. I'd be honored.
All right, let me pull one up. That'll be kind of fun. Here we go. This is Marcia's.
Okay.
All right. Tell us what you think she might have been designing.
Fun. Fun.
She was tipsy.
Uh-huh. Or wanting one. I need a drink.
So what do you think Marcia was designing as she was starting to do this? What were some of the words that she might have used? Hi,
Bold.
Sandy.
One that comes to my mind is whimsical.
Yeah,
It's
whimsical.
whether she came up
Whimsical.
with that idea, I can't know, but it is whimsical.
Whimsical is a
Maybe-
good word.
And
Maybe off balance.
Balance. She's got balance with the way things, there's certainly not balance standing up straight, but there is balance.
Mm-hmm.
What else might she have thought about?
complementary colors.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Shapes.
Mm-hmm. What about materials? Is it just watercolor or is it acrylic
Oh,
or is
ink.
it
Yeah, ink. There's ink, it looks like.
ink or probably a crayon or
Crayon.
because you can tell here, not necessarily, but probably because of the skip.
Yeah, well, I skip like that with my ink, so I don't know.
You can. Absolutely could be ink.
I mean, I when I want to.
I think it was just watercolor, to tell you the truth. That skip was the way
The watercolor did?
yeah.
Okay, Marcia, if you were to, are they on target with what you were wanting to accomplish?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everything they said.
So if you were to write words down ahead of time on this, what might you have written?
I might have written happy hour.
Okay.
But I used the word off balance, but I didn't mean that the painting looked off balance. I meant
No.
that it, makes you feel kind of just floating off balance,
Okay, good.
Whimsical
Mhm.
and definitely the colors. Can't think of the word right now.
The complementary colors were influenced by what you wanted to do.
Yes, absolutely. And overlapping shapes.
That was very determined from the beginning, wasn't it?
Yes, yes. um, um, texture as far as the texture of glass.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, Marcia, do you think that writing a couple of those words down before you started the painting would have taken away from your whimsical and your thoughts? Do you think it would have been a detriment, or do you think it would be helpful? Because you can change the words as you go.
Sure. No, I think it would be helpful because as far as whimsical, that would definitely be one of my words was whimsical.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it would take away from that at all. I think it would help.
And what if you, Marcia, decided that you were going to go whimsical and you went, no, I really want to have this be in a different feel. Do those words mean you have to stay to them?
No.
No, of course not. Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
No, but they can guide you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I did want a certain feel, a certain mood,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the words would have guided me.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think I especially this is a series you're working on. You've got a lot of these. And
I-
so once you had this one done and some others, it started becoming a series. And
Mhm.
a series, I'll ask all of you here in a minute, but a series sometimes starts from a one word. If she said whimsical, that might be all it took. Like, or I had a little longer, a breath of fresh air, and I went, and during COVID, I wanted to have this full series that came out and would just give people calmness and that they'd want to be around it and they would just feel um, a real calm and peaceful look. And they did that and they continue to do that. So I mean, we can always use that. So um, that's one of the things I can think that it helps with. So someone explained to me um, what you think it would do for you setting these words out. Would you try it? Is it something worth trying to put some words down that you might kind of put as a start place, as another tool to bring creativity about?
I think it's an excellent idea. I think it would help guide you to
Mhm.
the feel that you want in the painting.
Yeah, because you can you can change it along. In fact, a lot of you know that my ginormous one that I did had every change that could possibly be in it. But some of the words that I started with actually did kind of follow all the way through, and then some of them I changed.
Mhm.
So,
It seems like it would put you in a mood or a mindset,
mhm.
um, and make starting easier.
The blank piece of paper is the hardest real estate to work with.
Mhm.
If you can splash paint on or do anything to it, or you dropped it in the mud and now you've got texture in there. I mean, something to get you started, because the blank paper is just a difficult, for most of us, it's a little bit of a difficult thing. So yeah, I think that would help.
It's kind of like you have a thought, a feeling like you were talking about with the pandemics, your pandemic series.
Mhm.
Is you have that inside of you, and it's jumping over that fence, stepping up on the curb, that
Mhm.
the next part. And
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about writing down words to express that because it just kind of pulls it out of you. It's okay, this is what you're saying.
And some of you, especially Carol Levy, know that I've been working very hard over the last number of years to be a writer and write articles and try to express in words. And I've found that I thought, why am I not doing that when I'm starting a painting? And then I found that that was a big thing. And to tell you something interesting, Mo, during COVID, I had these nice, calm things, and then I got COVID. And I, when I was at my sickest moment, I thought, I am going to do a painting of how I feel.
Mm.
I was really sick and almost went to the hospital. And it's not a painting I would share with everybody, but it really was disturbing. But it made me realize you can put your emotions on paper. In fact, my doctor, I just for fun showed him on my phone when I was well again. He goes, "Boy, that does look like what COVID would be." It was just dark and circles. And anyway, it wasn't, it was just a lot of color and a lot of dark instead of light and airy. So I think having that was a very targeted word for that piece, just like we're talking about these others. So let me show you a thought here. So your idea is that the words are very flexible. These are not written in stone that you have to have them in stay with your painting. They're inspiring guide. There's something to give you the next thing to get on. Um, and so what are your we talked a little bit, but what are your thoughts of them being flexible?
I think it's important. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be tied to any
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
you're as you go along with your painting as it progresses, you
Mhm.
see things differently.
I think
Another
the nice thing about I think the words really for me would be more helpful for the lighthearted, the whimsical paintings, because I think often when I get into a painting, it becomes a really serious thing. You know,
Mhm.
I become more focused and more focused and more focused. And I think for a lighthearted painting, to see those words and remember, oh, this is fun. This is lighthearted.
Yeah.
Relax, you know.
This should be more fun than that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Good. Um, let me show you one of the things that started me on this, and that is I have some of my paintings that I actually wrote on the painting and then painted on top of it the words. I mean, wrote, put the words in there. Um, I didn't think of this one till this afternoon, so I didn't have it up on here. Here it is. Okay. This is a painting, and it's large. I do this quite often now. Those are all the words that I scribbled on it of those thoughts like we're talking about. I had them on another piece of paper. I thought, why not put them in the painting? And then have some of those. In fact, Rick looked at it, he goes, Linda, do you know there's some little pieces of words that still show? I said, I sure do.
Mhm.
I like that. I like it.
So, I mean, if you look at these, it's movement, pathways, asemic writing, design. I did some of them upside down, so they're a little harder to read. Shapes, use twigs, shimmery green, rust. And so I did all those words as part of what would be underneath the painting.
Oh,
And the painting is this one.
Mm.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
yeah.
So all those words are that, and I have a number of them. That's just one of them that has all the words through it. But what it did is I thought, okay, the words are there. Let's just kind of do some of those words. And that was just another tool. So what are some of the tools? We have composition, we have color. What are some of the tools you use that this would be added to? You have materials like the actual paint.
Mm-hmm.
You have your surface,
Color.
color, your skill,
Your brushes and tool and
your brushes.
yeah.
And so I would say another tool that you have are your words.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And when you put your words in there, and you can even write them in there, I have some paintings I'm starting to actually have them show through purposely. And you can do asemic writing, which is fancy scribble, artistic scribble. And if you do asemic, you can just be writing really sloppy, what you're thinking, nobody will be able to read it, but you know what you wrote.
Uh-huh.
Those are just things that I think are the secret messages and the secret feelings that you can put into a painting that gives more power to your production of it. So,
And it adds mystery too.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
And, one of the words that I left for one of the paintings was the word asemic. And they go, what's asemic writing? I says, pretty much this stuff. It's sloppy artistic writing. Because it's the word that's used for that. So give me some feedback on what you think, how, if you would use this. We said that a little bit earlier, but now you've had a little more examples.
Use the writing thing or
Mhm.
just the words.
The
Yeah.
writing,
Oh yeah,
the
I've done
word,
that too. Yeah.
make a
Not
list.
not with your descriptive words, but just with like I was at a lecture or something, a spiritual kind of lecture, and I had taken notes, and in the notes I had done doodling, whatever. And then when I decided to make a painting out of that, and I saw the words, which I remember, I think were like awareness or something. So when I did the painting of my doodle thing, I then put the
Yeah,
words in, and I
good.
thought it went really well. It looked really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Great.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think using words is a good way to kind of keep moving over a bridge to where you want to be.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Like you say, there's always something stopping us, but if we can have a bridge to get there, that would be great.
Bridge is a really good word.
It is.
That's a
Yeah.
good explanation of that so that you can actually go to the next thought and the next thing without, I don't know about you, but there's times your little brain goes, I have no idea what I want to do next. But if you had some guide words, it might make you think of a color. If you said you wanted to be happy and exciting, you might go, oh, maybe a little touch of turquoise in there might be kind of neat, where you wouldn't have thought of that before. Okay, so let me show you what would be coming up. The next one we would have. Okay, so I don't know which topic I'm going to do, but it will be July 2nd. It's going to be a shorter session because I think that people are coming up on the 4th of July. We may be light like we are tonight with numbers, and people have a lot going on. So we'll just that one. And then if you look on my website, you're going to be able to see the dates that are coming up. There's a few dates that there's, I think, 2 months to the end of the year that we won't be having art talk, but you're getting them you should get two reminders, the one the day before or sometime before, and then the day of. And I continue to send those out. And we've got a lot of people on the list. If you know anybody else that would like to be on the list, then let me know. Okay.
Good.
So I hope that this gave you some insight of what you might add to your process that is pretty easy to do because you're usually thinking those things, you're just not writing them down. And one word comes to another word. And I have a painting that I did a 10-minute timer, and I did in 10 minutes everything I was thinking about that painting.
Mm.
And I did it kind of midway. So I was kind of partway through the painting, and I went, I like this part. Boy, this is bad. Oh, will this turn out? And I mean, I just wrote down everything, and I said, yes, this is a solution. And I was just kind of writing all those things down. And it helped me kind of review with visual words, being able to figure out what I was going to do next. So try some different things and then let me know. Email me and let me know how you think this might have helped you with your process. Okay?
Sounds
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.